Tech for Seniors, episode 21, August 17th, 2020. Well, 21 episodes. Are you here, Hewie? Are you around?
I'm still hanging in there. I'm still here.
Hewie's my co-host, and Bob. Where? I don't recognize. Where's Bob?
Bob's here. Hasn't left.
I don't recognize you. What's going on with that?
We'll talk about that in a little while.
And where's Dewey? Dewey, wave for us. Give us a wave. Yeah, Dewey will be talking as well today. Wow, we have a big show today for everyone. So let's get on with it. It was a really, really busy week for everyone, particularly for myself. We started this week, and Bill James with the APCUG gave that great talk on the new Edge browser. So if you haven't heard that, it was a great presentation on Wednesday morning. It was part of the APCUG series, and he'll be doing another 4-part session on automation. Now, the thing about this is these are produced and they're made into YouTube videos, and they're great products to use for your club. So if you want to have, instead of having a guest speaker, these are great. You can play them. You don't have to play the whole one. You could do it every, do a half-hour section of it. But Bill did a great job. Thank you so much, Bill. Now, then we went on to the big sold-out virtual technology conference on Saturday, and that was great. It was a great conference, lots of good speakers, and the whole conference was sold out about a week in advance. So those of you who didn't go, all those presentations will be online, and you should keep in touch because our next one that we're going to do will be in November. Now, the news part, well, we have lots of news to you today, but we now have, I want to introduce a new member of our Tech for Seniors team, and that's Ray Baxter. Ray Baxter has agreed to come on as our musical director, and we are going to have a little bit of song in our presentations, and we'll talk about a little bit about that later on. But Ray's joined our team, and welcome, Ray. Ray, are you around? Can you wave? Or Ray did the talk on having your on a music club. And now remember, that was our disastrous thing where it didn't record. So Ray was kind enough to re-record it, and you'll find it now in the playlist of our old episodes. So if you just go to the old episodes of all our Tech for Seniors, you'll find his YouTube video there as well, and you can play that. And then again, it makes a great talk for your club as well, or I'm sure Ray would come and give a talk through the APCU Speakers Bureau. So welcome, Ray, and he's now part of the team. Couple of other things that I want to do, but before I get to those, I think what I'll do is we're just going to share our screen here. I'm just going to share my screen. And you should be able to see, this is our website, Tech for Senior, and you will see, if you click on the top part here, you'll see Learning Chromebooks. This is our big announcement. Huey and I told you last week that we are going to be teaching Chromebooks. Now, Chromebooks don't need a lot of teaching because they're really quite simple to use, but I wanted to just show you this this article that was put out by Thurrott.com this week. Paul Thurrott's quite a notable journalist, and the Chromebook sales in the United States tripled, outpaced by 3 times PC sales. So they are selling a lot of Chromebooks. Chromebook sales outpaced laptops by 3 times. So this is big stuff. In sort of Huey and I have been sort of Chromebook people for a long time. So on September 17th, we will be putting on a 1-hour, and we'll be doing this on a monthly basis, a 1-hour tutorial or on Chromebooks. And we're going to have the registration. You have to register for the event, and it will be you'll be able to do that through this link. Just click on that link. We'll have the links around in a bunch of different places, but you do need to register for it. So that's for sure coming up, and that's to do with Chromebooks. The other thing I just wanted to bring my on this screen where we're shared, I wanted to let everybody know that one of the problems we have with Tech for Seniors is we don't know who you are. You come every week, but we really don't have any idea of how to communicate with you, and that's always a problem. Now, our club does put out a newsletter twice a week that I write and put it out, and some of you have asked to be, recipients of that, so you do get our newsletter, but that really doesn't help with Tech for Seniors. So you will find on Facebook, if you look over here on the left side, you'll see Tech for Seniors does have a web page, a Facebook page, as does our club. And this is new. So if you are a member of Silvercom CTC, you can go here. And in the short term, if you click on Tech for Seniors and you come down here, you will see the newsletter that was just published that I just sent out yesterday. And if you click on here, you will see the newsletter right here for you, and that's on Facebook. Now, the other thing that I just wanted to mention, because I'm going to run out of time, is we'll just come back. Is that what the goal and what will happen in the next couple of weeks is that at Tech for Seniors on our webpage here, we are going to have a blog, and I'm just finalizing this now, and you'll be able to register for a newsletter. And so we'll be able to communicate if you want to sign up and you want to hear information from us. I'm setting it up so that Bob and Hewie or Dewey and any of our team for Tech for Seniors can edit and send out. So it'll be sort of not just me, but it'll be other people that can be involved and want to actually send stuff out to you guys. And this, I anticipate, will grow over time. The thing I like about having our own and rather not using the Facebook is sort of full of ads and all sorts of stuff. And I don't want to be involved in that. Nobody makes any money on this. We're doing all this just because we want to give back to the community. So this is a way in which we will have control over our mailing list, and we can send out newsletters to you guys and keep you posted. So if we had to change a meeting time or number or something, we can get a hold of you. And that will occur in the next couple of weeks. I should have this done shortly. So that's I think that's all I had to say. And anyway, stop sharing. Yep. All right. I guess we take it away, Bob. I guess you're up next, eh?
Okie dokie. Thanks to Avast Software, here's the Security News Roundup for the week ending 8/14/2020. Scammers are profiting by selling likes and views for Reels posts. Capitalizing on the new Instagram short-form video platform Reels, which launched on August 5th, scammers immediately began profiting from the sale of phony views and likes. According to a Business Insider report, one seller made enough in 5 days to buy a good car and a decent home. The scammers used botnets to register all the fraudulent likes and views, which sold by the thousands. Prices ran around $5 per 1,000 views and $15 per 1,000 likes. Reels is Instagram's answer to the wildly popular TikTok, but appears to be lacking some security features against this exploited vulnerability. Facebook insists it continues to crack down on inauthentic behavior. TikTok breaks Google rules, tracks users. The Wall Street Journal published an exclusive where it disclosed that TikTok deliberately hid the fact that it was tracking Android users for a period of 15 months, stopping last November when security concerns over the app began to surface. The WSJ maintains that the tracking must have been used for targeted advertising. The illicit action not only circumvents Google's policy to allow users to reset IDs for ad tracking, but it directly breaks TikTok's own privacy policy. The newest revelation will no doubt affect the future of the controversial China-based company, which is currently being considered for purchase by Microsoft. Stalkerware apps slip through Google's ban. Last month, Google announced a ban on stalkerware apps being sold in the Play Store beginning August 11th. But TechCrunch reported that several stalkerware apps are still available, having slipped through Google's filter. Stalkerware is the nickname given to any apps that allow physical or digital tracking of another person without their permission. They are often pitched as parental tools, but may have been repurposed by suspicious spouses and abusive partners. Even after Google's ban took effect, TechCrunch found stalkerware made by FlexiSpy, mSpy, WebWatcher, and KidsGuard and others still advertised in the Play Store. Critics find Google's qualifications of what constitutes stalkerware inadequate. Now for some good news. The internet stays strong despite increased usage. ZDNet reports that since the pandemic lockdown orders began taking effect in March, internet use has greatly increased, rising 30% in upstream traffic and 20% in downstream traffic. Nevertheless, researchers found that despite this flood of traffic, internet service providers, content delivery networks, and public clouds have kept the bits moving smoothly on the internet superhighway. They also discovered that cloud providers' networks are more stable than internet service providers, though cloud outages are more likely to directly impact users. Verily sets up in-house COVID-19 testing lab. The Google sibling company Verily, which focuses on life sciences, has set up a COVID-19 testing lab within its San Francisco headquarters. On the company blog, Verily's head of pathology, Dr. Deb Hanks, commented, "We've established this lab to provide a focused specialty service with rapid turnaround time. We are launching with the capacity to run several thousand tests per day, primarily focused on our healthy at-work customers. As testing demand currently outpaces national lab capacity, causing patients to wait at least a week to receive test results back. Verily has established its CLIA certified lab with the intent to facilitate faster result reporting." And that's the security-related news for this week. Stay safe. See you next week.
Well, thanks, Bob. Bob, since Revenue Canada was hacked this week, does that mean I don't have to pay taxes?
You wish.
All right, Hewie, you're up.
Okay, let me share my screen. I'll turn the sound on even though I don't need it. And one more second. And switch screens. How to find that window. And why am I talking about this, and what am I talking about? Well, you know, I've been on a lot of Zoom meetings lately, and people keep saying, "What happened to everybody? I can hear you, but I can't see you, and I don't know what's going on." And a lot of them then leave the meeting and then come back in, and everybody's picture is back up on the screen. Well, what happened? Well, what happened was that they looked at their email, or they looked quickly, or they looked at their Facebook quickly or something, but somehow all of your Zoom other listeners and people on your screen got buried behind another screen. And so how do you get it back without having to leave the meeting and come back? Well, here's an example. Now I've got, you can see there's several windows that are, one is on top of another. And how do I find what's behind something, especially if I'm in the middle of doing a presentation and I want to see everybody or see my screen, that I clicked on the wrong little section and all of a sudden that screen came up forward? What do I do? Well, here's an example of what I'm talking about, what I'm going to be talking about, and that's using the Alt-Tab command. And let's see, this is a video, so I've got to come down here and start it. There's no audio with this, so I'm just going to talk over it. If you do an Alt-Tab, what you can do is you can go from open window to open window till you get to the right one. When you let go of your keys, it then will open that window or put that window up on front as the main or open window. And there's a lot of ways you can do this, and that's what I'm going to talk about in my slides here today. This video, and that's the end of it. So let's go to the next slide. So Alt-Tab, that means holding your Alt key down on your keyboard and then hitting the Tab key will let you switch between the open windows. And there's more to that. And by the way, if you have a Chromebook, it works the same way. I'm not sure on a Mac. The Alt plus the Tab switcher has other useful but hidden keyboard shortcuts. And these tips apply to both Windows 10 and Windows 7. Now, the standard Alt-Tab usage is pretty basic. You press the Alt key down and then hit the Tab key. While you're holding the Alt key down, just keep hitting the Tab key and it will move from window to window. When you release it, there'll be an outline around the window you want. When you let go of both keys, that window comes forward and that's what you see. So if you've lost everybody's picture in a Zoom meeting, that probably is what happened. If you Alt-Tab, you can get back. You'll see everybody's pictures, and bingo, you've got it back in front. You don't have to leave the meeting and come back. Now, Alt-Tab in reverse. Alt plus Tab normally moves forward from left to right. And if you miss the window you want, you don't have to keep pressing. If you got a lot of windows open, you don't have to go all the way around again. What you can do instead, press Alt-Shift-Tab. In other words, you're already holding the Alt key down, hit the Shift as well as the Tab, and it'll go the other direction. Select windows with the arrow keys. So if you can select the windows in the Alt-Tab with the arrow keys. Press the Alt-Tab to open the switcher and keep holding down the Alt key. And rather than pressing the Tab key, use your arrow keys on your keyboard to highlight the windows you want. Release the Alt key, press either the Enter key or press the space bar. You can use your mouse to switch and close windows. There's a red X, or it might be a white X. On mine it was. To close a window in Windows 10's Alt-Tab switcher. So as you're moving from window to window in your Alt-Tab, if you move your mouse over it, you'll see an X up in the right-hand corner. You click it, it'll close that window down. So it's an easy way to close several windows that you may not want open. You can also use your mouse with the Alt-Tab switcher. Press Alt-Tab, keep holding the Alt key, and click the window you want to switch to. While using your mouse, you'll notice a bonus. The X appears at the top right, which I just mentioned. Click the X to close the application window. It's a quick way of closing a lot of windows. Alt plus Tab without holding the Alt key down. The Alt-Tab switcher normally closes when you release the Alt key. But if you'd like the Alt-Tab without holding the Alt key down the whole time, you can. Press Alt, Control, and then Tab, and then release all three keys, and the Tab switcher will stay open on your screen. Then you can use the Tab key, the arrow keys, or your mouse to select the window you want, then press Enter or the space bar to switch to the highlighted window. Switch between tabs instead of windows. Now, if you're using the Chrome browser in Google Chrome, then you can switch between tabs with Control Tab, not Alt-Tab, but Control Tab. This isn't an Alt-Tab keyboard trick, but it's so similar and important that we have to include it. In almost any application that offers built-in tabs, you can use Control-Tab to switch between the tabs, just as you use Alt-Tab to switch between windows. I did test it on Microsoft Edge, and it also worked there. Hold down the Control key, then tap Tab, and repeatedly to switch the tabs to the right. And you can even switch tabs in reverse by pressing the Control-Shift tab. So there are many other keyboard shortcuts for working with tabs as well. And that's it, and I'll switch it back.
Thank you so much. That's great, Huey. That was interesting. I gotta try that. It's something you don't do all the time. Do you use that all the time, the tab switching?
Oh, I've used it for years.
Yeah, it's cool.
And a lot of times you'll hear somebody will say, I can't see anybody anymore. You all went away. I just say, hit the Alt-Tab key and find it again. And it usually comes right back. And otherwise what they end up doing is going out of Zoom and then coming back in. In a case with this meeting, if they went out, they aren't going to get back in.
Listen, thanks for that tip. Hey, Bob, can you tell us how to get this cool hat and this patch on your eye?
Certainly. I'd be more than happy to.
What's with that?
If you've updated Zoom to the latest version, and if you're able to have a virtual background, then there's now some fun stuff that Zoom has added. Got a little video to show you exactly how that new fun stuff actually works. So let me share my screen. And here we go. Today, let's talk about something brand new in Zoom. If you're up to date with the latest version, you'll find something new called video filters. And video filters are a fun part of Zoom, something everybody, if you're able to use them, should at least try out. Let me show you how to get to it, and there are two ways of doing it. The long way is that green check mark at the top of your Zoom window. If you click on it, it opens up a menu, and from here you can go to background and filters. What it defaults to is your virtual backgrounds, and if this doesn't show up, it means your computer is not capable of doing virtual backgrounds. And if it can't do virtual backgrounds, it also can't do the fun part, which are video filters. So we've now selected video filters, and video filters are something that, well, you'll see in a second. It starts off with none, which is what I currently have selected. That's why you see that blue filter around it. Well, let me retract. This is one way of getting to these new video filters. There's another way of doing it, and it makes it a little easier. Let's close this back down. Where your camera shows, where it either says start video or stop video, next to it, that little up caret, click on it, and from here go directly into choose video filters. Click on it, and as you can see, this takes me directly to the video filters. And from here, I can choose what to select. This enhances my background. This gives it a black and white filter. Cinemation. This gives it a cream glow. C-Forms gets a little blue in there, and that gives it a rosy pink. This gives me a theater surround. Makes me look like I'm on the big screen. Now I'm on TV. A scrapbook. An old-fashioned TV. I'm on TV and there's a chair waiting for somebody to sit down. I guess that makes it funny. I've just put on my glasses. They're just as crooked as the ones on my face. Lots of things to choose from. I haven't had a halo since, I guess, 80 years back. COVID-19. Didn't like the white? Let's pick this color. I'm about to graduate. Pierre and Pierre's mustache. It'd be nice if you could combine the two, but you can only choose one at a time. I'm now a pirate. Avast, me hearties. 3D, anyone? My virtual glasses. I like sunglasses, but that's a little too dark. As I said, there are many things to choose from. Again, you need to be able to use a virtual background in order for this to work. But this puts a little fun in your life. Pick the one you like and stick with it and see what people think about it. That's it for video filters. Have fun. Enjoy Zoom. Bye-bye.
Well, it's really Bob. You were hiding behind the mask. I'm glad you came on the show today. I was wondering who that person was. Yeah. So we can all have some fun playing around with that. That looks pretty darn cool. All right. I'm going to.
You noticed I got my ad in too for Avast.
I did. I thought. Yeah. That was so funny. I did. All right, let me share my screen. We're going to continue on with part 2 of our networks. Let's just have a look here. Great, and we will slideshow, and we'll start from the beginning. I'm not sure how far we'll get. This may be a 4-part series. I don't know yet, but we'll see how far I get today. But I have to be cognizant of the time. So this is part 2 of modems and routers we're going to talk about today. Now, last week we talked about post-COVID era and the different providers for fast internet that you're going to be faced with. And you'll see them on the left side here. We have the slower DSL, which is running on telephone wire. We have, of course, cable, which you're all familiar with. We have fiber optic, which I'm sure many of you have. I don't think anyone's got Starlink or the satellite yet. And of course, it'd be interesting to find out, not now, but if anyone actually has fixed base 5G, which will be the fastest. So the first thing when we talk about modem and routers is we talked about what's a modem. Well, a modem is unique to any of these particular services. So, and what a modem does is it takes the information that's transmitted and it converts it into a usable form that your computer can recognize. So if you had a DSL service, you would need a DSL modem. If you had a cable service, you need a cable modem. If you have a fiber optic service, you need a fiber optic modem. So each one of those services requires its own unique modem, right? Most people don't go and buy a modem because modems are usually provided by the service company that you're going to be purchasing your service from. So it really isn't a huge deal, although at Silveridge, they changed over from DSL to cable, and there were 700 cable modems that we put in. Cable modems are usually around 60 or 70 bucks to put in. But most of you won't have to buy a modem because it will come with your service provider. And you can't, if you have a DSL modem, it won't work on cable. So all of the modems are related to the service that you're being provided. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, one of the things, the next one we're going to talk about routers. And if I asked everybody what was the function of a router, you would all say, well, it gives me Wi-Fi, right? That's what everybody would say. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing a router does is security. It keeps the bad guys out. And that is why Bob and I and Huey are always harping on upgrade your router, because you want to make sure that the software is up to date. Now, those of you who live in Mesa, Arizona, there's a scary place, it's Florence, and Florence is a town just south of Mesa, and there's 3 great big huge penitentiary, a lot of bad guys in there. And the analogy when I teach my router course is I say, let's say one night all the doors opened up in those penitentiaries and all the bad guys came racing out and you were the first house on the block. You would want a steel door, you'd want strong windows, strong sides, as everyone's beating on your door trying to get in to do bad things to you. And that's the same thing as an internet. The internet is full of seedy, awful viruses, bad people, everything, just waiting to get into your system. And the way the router works is it makes you anonymous. Nobody can see you. So basically you're cloaked, and that's how it works. So that's why we want you to keep a good router, and we don't want you to have your 8-year-old router that has never been upgraded. All right, the second thing it does is routing. It actually takes all your devices that you have in the house and all the Internet of Things in it, and it puts them on, and it connects them, and it allows the signal to go, and we can figure out where all these devices are. And the last thing it does is it does Wi-Fi, and that's what most of you are thinking about, is the Wi-Fi part of that. And if you look out, as most of the routers that have been sold in the last 3 or 4 years are all what we call dual band routers. Now, what is a dual band router? Well, it broadcasts in 2 frequencies. It either does 2.4 gigahertz or it does 5 gigahertz. So it broadcasts in 2 frequencies. And most of you, if you've bought a router in the last 3 or 4 years, it probably will be a dual band router. Now, those of you who are a little more advanced are probably saying, what about mesh routers? Well, mesh routers will be a talk next week. Now, it's important to know this because a lot of the internet devices, Internet of Things devices like Ring doorbells and things like that will work on both of these frequencies, and they work a lot faster. So that's important. You also will want, when you purchase a router, you'll want to know how many devices that you can connect to it. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, many of you, when you sign up to a cable company or one of the service providers, you'll get a combination unit, and it'll be a router modem. And if you don't particularly like the modem and you want to connect to another router, we put them in bridge mode. And what bridge mode means is it takes it from the combo unit and it bridges it over to your router. And that bridging has to be done by your provider. You can't do it. It's nothing to do with you. It's a setting that your service provider will do, and it will bridge it from the existing over to your modem. Now let's talk about 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz. What's the difference? Well, 2.4 is the original specs, and it's been around for a long time, since Wi-Fi started. It's always been 2.4 gigahertz. And if you look down here on the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see all these devices that we connect to the Wi-Fi router. And so there's a ton of stuff. So there's a lot of congestion because we have so many things that are now getting connected to the 2.4 gigahertz band. The other problem that happens is what we call in the tech field bad boy routers. And here's what will happen is that you have a big house, and let's say you have 3 stories in your house. And you go to Best Buy and you say, look, I got to get the signal to all 3 floors. And you're not going to get a mesh. We'll talk about mesh next week. And you get one of these bad boy routers that have these like 4 or 5 aerials coming out, and they're really powerful. And so you bring them home to your house, and then you plug them in, and it broadcasts over the whole house. It's really powerful, and it all does it on the 2.4 gigahertz, goes through walls. It does a really good job. Let's say that person moves into a condo or moves into a 1-bedroom apartment, and they bring that bad boy router into your apartment complex that lives next door to you, all right? Now, you know what's going to happen is this bad boy router is going to be blasting over 2 or 3 floors, and all of a sudden, here's how Wi-Fi works. If Huey has a real powerful bad boy router and he's blasting the signal out, and I'm next to him, the stronger signal always gets the priority. So what happens is that my signal would come along, and Huey's signal would come along, and Huey's would be a lot stronger, and my signal's very polite. It would say, okay, you're in a hurry, go. And then I'll go, And so when his signals come along, I wait and his signals go. It's a lot like when you're driving a car and some guy's tailing you right on the back. If you were 19, you'd get out and have a fight with them. If you were, or race with them down the street. If you're a senior like we are, you pull over and let the guy go and say, I don't get what his hurry was, right? So the problem is when these bad boy routers get into apartments and stuff like that, your system slows down substantially because it's always waiting, because these bad boy routers are broadcasting these really strong signals. All right, and so that's part of the problem. Oh, and the other thing is always connect your computer, if you can, directly to your router. Don't use Wi-Fi. Connect it directly and this is not a problem. And so if you're living in a small area, try and connect it. So anyway, these are some of the issues that we just talked about. And now there's the 5 gigahertz frequency. Now this is, and the cool part about 5 gig, it's faster. So you should try and connect to it because it's faster. And also it doesn't go through walls. So if you're in an apartment, it would just sort of be in your room, so you wouldn't get the interference. And if you look at the network as I portrayed it down here, if you go to your network settings, you will see in here, you'll see that we call this My Network. It broadcasts as 2.4 and My Network as 5. So when you look at your Wi-Fi networks, if you have like Netgear 246, you'll see it's in there twice. One will be 2.4, one will be 5. So always log on if you can to the 5 because it will be faster. So that would be, that's my tip for today. And we will get on with this and we'll do some more of this next week because it's 9:40 and Huey's up. My time is done. All right, Huey, are you ready?
Stop sharing.
That's what I'm trying to do. There we go.
And,
Huey, are you ready?
Yep, let me share. And today I'm going to talk about your own daily newspaper. I have a daily newspaper. It's called the Hewie Daily. And it's news about Chromebooks, Windows, and Zoom. Prior to this, I just started this one, probably a few months ago. It's a free service, although I don't get a lot for my free. I would be better off with the paid version, and I'm going to talk about that as I talk through this. But several years ago, I actually put one together. It was called the HCP, which are my initials daily. And it was featuring Windows and some other technology, but I kept seeing a lot of lawnmower articles and gardening articles, and those weren't things that I wanted in there. So that's why I started the new one, but I'm seeing fewer and fewer of those even in the HCP daily, but they both do show up. So here is my daily, the Hewie Daily, and this is clickable, and let's go ahead and just click it just for a moment here. And here is yesterday's news. Today's news is not out yet, but the major article is go full-time Chromebook in 2020, save money and ditch the MacBook and Windows 10. Here's why. And then another article in there is the best cheap laptops you don't have to wait a month for. Home Windows 10, the way to lock down the OS to put in best. The way to get home Windows and Mac OS apps on your Chromebook, and a story about Edward Yang. And that was the newspaper for yesterday. Today's will be out shortly. So let's close this, go to the next slide. So here's the Hewie Daily from a few days ago. The main article, what happens is I get an email, it'll show the main article, and then it'll click on read more, and it'll open up all of the other articles. What I have discovered is if I hold on to these and don't open them, if I try to go 2 days or 3 days later, when I click read more, it's not, the other articles are not available. So it's a daily newspaper, and then things aren't available. And so this was an article when I went and installed Windows 10 on my Chromebook. Another day this past week was the best affordable Windows laptops you can buy. Another article was development on Windows dual boot for Chromebooks has been resurrected for some reason. So this is how it works. 4 quick steps to having your own website with its new content every day. First, you select your topics, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this coming up. It can be related to your career, your personal interests. Select just one topic you'd like to create influence on, and you can decide on how many to combine. Second, you want to personalize your page. In minutes, they'll generate your page with inspiring content based on your topics. Now you can customize the header, image. A lot of this, especially the customization, is in the paid version and not in the free version. 3, read your daily digest. So they'll send every day an email with the best content from the web on your topics. Use this content to read, share, or add to your page. And then 4, share on social and send newsletters. You'll have access to easy-to-use email newsletter publisher that can be deployed as frequently as you would like. You can schedule publishing on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter using their social media agent. Those are definitely, you need to have the paid version to do that. You can select your own interest by searching the source, and you can put in some keywords. I put in Zoom, I put in Windows, and I put in Chromebooks, and it put and I had a choice of 3, and it then created the newspaper from those. But you can also go by topic, and you have all of these topics to choose from. If you want the paid version, it's $12.99 for the pro version a month, or $4.99 for what they call the starter version. For the active users, the pro is tailored to users for a website updated daily by Paperly, but it also wants to, if you also want to personalize it, where the starter is best for beginners who want a website updated daily with great content from Paperly, but don't have the need to customize it with their own content. And you can see here, there's yearly billing, and you get 2 months free. So the $12.99 a month is $129 a year. The $44.99 is $49.90 a year. So you can build your digital presence, and you get started. You can do it for free, and then if you want to go to the paid version, I have not gone to the paid version, and you just go to https://paper.li. And here's what it looks like if you do it online. And that was just going to the website. And if I can, let's see, stop the share. And so you can have your own newspaper. You can call it whatever you want. I called mine the Hewie Daily, but you call yours Chris Wazinski's Special News, or whatever you want. Or Don't Break This Glass.
So Hewie, are the articles pretty good? Like, are they, you know?
The articles are excellent. And a lot of them, as I read these, I'll mark them and put them in my Evernote so I can keep the articles.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of the articles are good. They're not always yesterday's articles. They might be 2 years ago, but they fit in whatever they're into the discussion. They're still relevant.
Cool. Hey, that's a great site. That's really cool. Dewey, you're up.
Well, very, very good. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Absolutely.
and your microphone.
Good. Well, good morning, everyone. If you're a regular attendee of these Monday morning Tech for Seniors sessions, you may recall that about a month ago, I told you about the 2004 update to the Windows 10 operating system. To recap, since Windows 10 was introduced 5 years ago, Microsoft has typically done about 2 of these major updates each calendar year, one in the first half of the year and the other in the second half. The 2004 update derives its name from the year 2020, the fourth month. However, for some mysterious reason, this 2004 update on the internet now commonly is referred to as the May 2020 update. Go figure. Anyway, it's now August and I've yet to find any definitive proof that the 2004 update has begun rolling out to ordinary Windows 10 users like most of us. As you may recall my telling you, advanced Windows users, people who would be considered advanced, may request the update early. However, tech experts way smarter than yours truly have suggested to not do this and instead wait until Microsoft has all the bugs fixed and then rolls it out. After last week's meeting, I came across an article that seemed to impart the message that another Windows 10 update will be coming out late this year, very late, and that would, among other things, bring an end to the well-known Windows control panel. Well, anyway, just a minute, lost my place here. Just a second. The news would conflict totally with what I told you recently, that the Windows control panel was safe for a long time. I sent this article to our co-host Ron Brown, and he replied asking me if I would do a short session on this topic at the next meeting, which is today. I then did some further research into the control panel's demise or expected demise and found out that it was not true. It turns out that the original article was either poorly written or omitted some necessary words that caused the misunderstanding. What I did find is that this upcoming late 2020 update is slated to bring elimination of a category in the control panel called System. Regarding System, my guess is that some of you may never found it necessary to use the control panel's category called System. In fact, when you do click on on Windows 10 settings, the gear wheel, it opens up to 14 categories of settings, of which the first one is called, guess what? System. And it's very similar to the control panel's System category. There is, however, one component available in the control panel's System that I'm unable to find in the Windows 10 settings system, and it's called Device Manager. Now, those of you who are a little bit more advanced, I'm sure are well familiar with it. Device Manager is a troubleshooting component that helps the user solve problems with things connected to the computer's motherboard, like sound and graphic cards, printers, scanners, and so forth. I believe that I can safely say that Device Manager may not be as important as it once was, because Microsoft has greatly improved Windows capacity to connect more easily to devices. By the way, if you do need to find Device Manager or Control Panel or Defrag or whatever, computer things on your Windows 10 computer, the easiest way is to simply go down to the search window you probably have on your display's lower left corner, type in the name and hit enter, and it will appear. Finally, at last week's meeting, I was invited to tell you about my Blue Yeti Nano microphone, which I'm speaking on now. After the program finished, I received a kind message from a friend telling me that at times my voice, as picked up by this new mic, sounded muffled and distorted. Needless to say, I was surprised and disappointed. When Ron Brown later released the YouTube video of last Monday's meeting, I watched it and listened carefully. And sure enough, my friend was correct. The last 2 minutes of my brief presentation last week didn't sound very good much of the time. I was really puzzled. I knew there was a way that I could check this out and how my mic sounded by testing it using the settings part of the Zoom app. I opened up my Zoom app, and on the upper right, I found the familiar gear wheel, which indicates settings. I appreciate that Security and AVAS Bob has already taken us there this morning. At settings, I clicked on audio. It's the third item down on the left. And I opened up the Zoom app I I did a playback test. Well, just a minute, I'm losing my place in the text kit. It played back immediately through your, excuse me. I checked on audio and found a button labeled test mic. Clicking on this button allows one to record 5 seconds of audio and hear it played back immediately through your computer's speaker system. I spent the next 20 minutes testing to find if there was a way I could sound as bad as I did on the video of last week's meeting. The good news for me is that I was not able to produce a muffled or distorted sound when using this mic as the manufacturer recommends, that is speaking directly into the mic as I'm doing now. However, when I woefully misused the mic, I was able to produce some pretty wicked sounds. Another reason I'm talking about settings in the Zoom app when I see the many different video images of you folks, our attendees, during our Zoom meetings. It appears to me that some of you haven't put very much effort into trying to look as good as you can. The video part of Zoom settings can help you to make changes in how you look by adjusting the angle of your video camera and so forth. Some of you may have noticed that my image is brighter today than before. I improved it by adding some light. Also, I'm using a virtual background today because I have a bright ceiling light where I am now that would flood a part of my background and not look good. By the way, you can set up your own virtual background in settings, again as Abe asked Bob showed us earlier. Finally, I'd like to suggest that you go to the audio part of settings where you can also test how the microphone you have selected actually sounds. Then continue to go on through to the rest of the categories so you can tailor your Zoom app to work the best for you. By the way, Abe asked Bob, I've not gotten the update, so I'm going to try to download that as soon as possible. Anyway, if you go to settings, your efforts will be rewarded. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Well, thank you, Dewey. Just to let you know, your audio was perfect. That Yeti microphone, and those of you who we talk about these microphones, really are excellent. And I can move around and I can change my position here, and it picks it up really well. And so it is what Dewey has said is it does affect how you set it up, right, Dewey?
Right.
Yes. In fact, I have to tell you a personal thing about Dewey. Dewey actually retired as a band teacher in the public school system and bought a recording studio. So he's a famous guy. He actually recorded people, and he ran a recording studio for a number of years, and then he sold it, but the studio is still running, isn't it, Dewey?
Yes, it is. It's I think the largest such service in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota.
Wow. So if you want to know something about sound and microphones, Dewey is your man, right? Maybe you do a session in the future a bit more on microphones. Could we talk you into that? You have to unmute yourself. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, I'll think about it. I don't want to be boring.
All right. Hey, it's just about time. Now, let me tell you what we're going to do here. So Ray has keyed up some music for you. We're going to play a song, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. However, how we're going to do this is I can't do this on YouTube, because what happens is playing the song on YouTube won't work, because you'll get copyright infringement violations. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the outro. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and we'll say, da 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 da, and do our usual end the meeting. But after we end it, I'm not going to hit the end button. Stay online, and I want to play this song. You'll really like this song, and I got to ask you some questions. Ray has given me some very unique things about this song. You'll all know it, but there's some things that we got to talk about, and it'll just be short. It'll just be 3 minutes, and then we'll finish the meeting. But we have to finish it for the recording earlier. Okay? Does everybody?
Good job, everybody. Goodbye.
Well, hold on, Greg. Don't leave yet.
No, I'm not. I'm camping out. I just wanted to say goodbye.
All right. So that's been a great meeting. Thank you Thank you, Bob, for your are you going to take off your mask again, or are you going to leave that on permanently now?
No, it'll be coming back down.
And Huey, did you give away all our secrets? Everyone thinks we're smart and we've got newsletters and all that stuff. Did you just give away the secrets we have? Because this is all automated in the background. Unmute yourself.
I'm giving so much away of how that makes me look like I know a lot. And I've been giving that away. And now people realize that, oh, I've been cheating all these years.
I know.
I have tools to do so many things.
Yeah, you don't have to be smart. You just have to know where to look to make people think you're smart, right?
Absolutely. That's what, and that's the neat thing about Google searches or Bing searches or whatever searches. You can find out all kinds of things that sound very knowledgeable.
Right. Exactly. Now, Chris Rosinski, did you make a decision? Are you going to talk about your new Chromebook when you get it?
Two things. If I get it, and if I got enough bandwidth to produce this, because remember, I get my Wi-Fi from my unlimited data on my phone. I would like to quickly say, I would like to see a program on gestures, because all these control this and all this stuff means that somebody is using a mouse instead of their trackpad. I have a solution for that. It's a mousetrap. So a lot of these things that are control things can be taken care of with gestures on the trackpad. I'm not sure how they all are, but I think somebody who is using both an Apple, a Windows, and a Chromebook ought to do it, because I only am using Chromebook. That's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey,
all right.
Ron, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago at Silver Ridge at the one of our computer club meetings, you made a suggestion to us all that Edge was having real problems and not to use it. And then you started most of us on Chromebook, or on, Chrome. So now are you saying that Edge is okay?
Well, yeah, because Edge is being rewritten in the Chromium. It's basically the same as Chrome now. It's in the same language as Chrome. So it has nothing to do with the old Microsoft Edge that was there. So it's a brand new browser. Bill James talked about that on Wednesday. It's all written in the Chromium language. So it's all written in the same language as the Chrome browser. And of course it is interchangeable. So yes, it's fine.
So the safeguards are there now, which they weren't there before.
Yep, it's fine, to use.
You can also actually add all your extensions that you have on Chrome. You just have to allow them to be added.
Right. All right, it's top of the hour. It's time to say goodbye. Huey, are you going to be around next week?
Absolutely.
All right, and Bob?
As always, wouldn't miss it
As
for the
always.
world.
Where's Ray? Is Ray around? Ray Baxter? Are you going to have a song for us next week, Ray?
Hey, yes, I certainly will. In fact, next week I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to use YouTube videos. I sent you one earlier this morning. I think that'll be more interesting for our viewers, because they'll be able to watch as well as listen.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much. And if you stay on, be sure and stay on afterwards, after we end the meeting, and we will, I'm not going to hit the end button, but we will end the meeting for the recording part. All right, we'll say goodbye, and we will see you same time, same place, same channel, same meeting ID and everything. And we will see you all next week, 1 week, same time, same place. All right.